Thursday night, and we're back. The beards are back in town,
We're
kids.
back.
Let's go. I am your buddy, Sergeant Mayhem, and along with me, as usual, is Monty. Big Smooth is out sick today. Get well, buddy. We miss you. And we are officially in the off season, and shit's upside down, man. Monty, how
Twitter
you been?
is on fire.
How you been, Monty?
I've been good, man. I mean, just out here, been on Twitter trying to kill time. You know, first Sunday without football, it's been a little weird, but you know, Twitter doesn't give up. It doesn't die down when football season's over. How about you?
Things get worse, if anything.
Yeah, they do.
So question, you said first Sunday without football. Do you check out any XFL games?
No, I did not check out any XFL games. What about you?
I think I watched about 10 minutes of one game, and that was about it. I had a busy weekend. I had stuff going on, but definitely going to check it out this weekend because, you know, football is football. And
yeah, I'll get
if it's on, I'll watch it. If it's on, I'll watch it.
I mean, XFL players last time ended up in the NFL. We got PJ Walker.
PJ was USFL, and that starts up in April, I think, which I will also watch because anytime someone's throwing around a football, I'll watch them do it.
Yeah.
I was scouting kids playing at my apartment complex last week, and I may have yelled something about, contract negotiations or whatever, because everything's got me.
That kid thinks he's worth $45 million.
That kid thinks he's worth $45 million. It's. So speaking of $45 million, I am holding in my hand a letter from Twitter. This is actually an official letter. I did not just pick up a notepad from my bedside table. This is an official letter from Twitter saying that we are allowed to talk about other things besides Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Right here, it says right here. Look, I can't because this is an official. This might also be a cease and desist order. I didn't actually read it. So, aside from, which we'll talk about later on, aside from Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, don't we have a bunch of other pending free agents? I mean, isn't there a bunch of other players who need money too? I mean, these guys need money.
We got a lot. We got, arguably our number one wide receiver. Well, we also brought back our other arguably number one wide receiver, so that was great news. I mean,
Isaiah Hodgins, man. Hodgins signed a 1-year deal for $900,000.
Yeah, the exclusive free agent right contract. We all knew it was happening, but it's great to have him back, and I believe he's a normal restricted free agent next year even. So we're lucky that we got him.
Yeah, hopefully we can maybe get him extended too, because who knows what's going on.
Like a little Gates type thing, extend them right before he needs it and get him cheap. I'd be down. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't end like that, but
no, hopefully not. I mean, I don't think we have a whole ton of receivers under contract. I know Darius Slayton's a free agent. Mm-hmm. Richie James is a free agent.
Yeah.
Julian Love's a free agent.
I'm blanking right now.
I'm blanking. Nick Gates, Feliciano. All of these guys are pending free agents because, granted, they're still on the
Saquon
team
and Daniel.
until. I'm sorry, who? I'm not familiar with those names. Are they practice
I didn't hear those guys are free agents.
Saquon. Okay. Saquon Barkley. I'm not familiar.
Hod Ward.
I'm not familiar.
Hottie.
Oh, yes. Hottie. Shout out to Hottie, man. I love the re-sign Hottie.
Me too. I love Hottie. I mean, I don't think he will command a lot because, he's not a great player, but man, is he a hell of a great person to have around the team.
Speaking of great people to have around the team, Sterling Shepard is also a pending free agent. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, which is even worse because if we manage to sign him, we're already paying him $4.5 million to not be on the team this year because of his contract restructuring this year.
If I have to ask you today, do you think Saquon's back? Or no, sorry,
What?
Saquon. Let's not talk about that. Do you think Sterling Shepard's back?
You know, if we can get him on a relatively cheap deal, I'd like to see him back. If
Yeah,
nothing else, then to really kind of solidify the fact that he's going to be a wide receiver coach next year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think he'll get a chance. I think he wants to play still. So I think it'll be a veteran minimum type thing, no guaranteed money. And I think, Sterling Shepard, if he can pass a physical. There we go. There's Mason. But yeah, if Sterling Shepard
Mace
can
here.
pass a
Shout
physical,
out to
I
Mason.
think he'll get a chance to go into training camp and earn a roster spot. But even then, it should be tough because if there's another wide receiver that we don't think we can sneak on the practice squad, they might just cut Shep and try to squeeze him onto a practice squad because you can't rely on him to be healthy, unfortunately. So I hope he's back, but it's tough.
Yeah. We're hoping would be back were announced also earlier last week is that both Wink Martindale and Mike Kafka will remain with the Giants because they did not get head coaching jobs, and thankfully both of the Eagles lost both of their coordinators. So they lost the Super
Does not
Bowl.
happen often.
They lost both of their coordinators, and they're about to lose half their team to free agency unless how the evil cap wizard can work some more cap magic.
And the best part
did
is
lose
so many.
our running back.
Yeah, we had some coaching news today.
We did lose our running. Yeah, well, we did lose our running back coach, but we got a new one. I didn't. Bobby Skinner. Shout out to Bobby Skinner talking Giants. Tweeted this out. Our new running backs coach is Jeff Nixon. He was with the Dolphins with Brian Dable. Mm-hmm. He was on the Eagles when Mike Kafka was a player, and he was on the Panthers with our assistant O-line coach Tony Sperano. So it's got a lot of. I have no clue who this guy is, and I'm not even going to pretend that I know. But I also did hear.
Go on.
No, what do you got? Because if you got more, then I want to hear it. Because I have no idea.
I know a little bit about him because I remember during the years that we were talking to bring in Matt Rule here. He was an assistant offensive coordinator over at Baylor with Matt Rule, and that's how he ended up in Carolina. But yeah, like you said, he was over in Miami with Shane and Dable, with Reggie Bush way back in the day. And, they had a really good running game this year in Carolina with not so good of running backs once they traded Christian McCaffrey away. So, I think it's a really good hire.
Speaking of interesting hires, Davis Webb was hired by the Broncos as their new QB coach. He's going to work with Russell Wilson, who's about 6 years older than he is, than Davis Webb.
Shout out
so
Davis
that'll be
Webb,
interesting.
Man. Shout out.
Well, Davis is getting his shot. Davis is getting his shot to coach, and I was kind of hoping it was going to happen here, but
yeah,
shout out to Davis Webb. And since I live in Colorado, I'll be able to keep tabs on Davis.
There you go.
As I watch the Broncos continue to fall apart. Yeah, yeah.
He got his first start. Gave him a chance to play in the NFL and say that he started a game in the NFL. And I feel like that's all he needed. I feel like once he got that start, he's like, okay, I'm going to step into coaching now. And teaming up with ex-Giants offensive coordinator Sean Payton over in Denver. So it should be interesting.
And not only did he get his first start, he got Kenny Golladay his only touchdown as a New York Giant.
The only one who could do it.
Yep. Only one who could do it. The heir apparent to Eli Manning, Davis Webb, everyone.
Yep.
So what else we got?
Let's see.
Apparently, I have received another. This has just been handed to me. I have another letter from Twitter saying that we actually have to now talk about Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Okay. So news, man.
Thank you. Can you take this?
Not news.
I don't.
Whatever you may call it. Apparently, Daniel Jones is getting $45 million. That's what everyone on Twitter says, at least.
I mean, apparently nobody else on Twitter has ever negotiated a contract.
Yeah.
Or, haggled.
The biggest non-news thing I've ever seen that just blows up Twitter, where, oh my God, he's asking for a lot of money and the Giants are asking for the low side of that money. And like, we all knew that if Daniel Jones negotiations came in too high, it would end up as he is as that. And now he's just out here trying to play damage control because people are calling the report bullshit right now. And like, I don't care if it is bullshit. Who cares? Like, he wants money, and Joe Shane has the franchise tag at his disposal, and it's not going to be an easy contract. They're not going to just make it easy. So if it's not done, they'll keep negotiating. If not, he'll be on the franchise tag. That's what Paul Schwartz says. Jordan Run-On says. Anybody with credibility in this beat, Dan Duggan. Oh, that's all they're saying. He's back. We just don't know how.
So I think, for those of you who are watching besides Mason, but those of you who are going to watch later on, and know we took a week off, the timeline is as such, right? Sometime, what was it, last week? It had to have been last week. It's been almost the whole week since this came out. Somewhere in the Twitter sphere, out in ether, a dollar amount was stated that Daniel Jones wants $45 million to be, as far as like a long-term, like per year, as a long-term contract. Now, today, everybody's been freaking out. Everybody lost their goddamn mind. But today, this came out, and I'm playing it for you now.
Now, here's what does lie.
Okay.
There's a report that came out a few days ago, and we all reacted to it, that once Daniel Jones switched agencies from CAA, big powerhouse,
big time,
to Athlete Direct, I think, or Athlete First, pardon me, the same guys that represent Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, etc., that he was making a $45 million a year demand. And we were like, that's bat bleep crazy, right?
Yes.
So yesterday, I was talking to people in the know, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Here's what happened. Daniel Jones and Athletes First never at any point told the New York Giants that they wanted $45 million a year for Daniel Jones. The agents at CAA, I'm told, leaked that story out because they were bitter that Daniel Jones left them for a new agency and they wanted to make him look bad. So they leaked out to some reporters that the guy's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and wants $45 million a year. It never happened. He never made that ask, and he never would make that ask.
Having been an ex-player, now not to the level of Daniel Jones and obviously the level of players who signed massive, massive deals, I don't think I worked with a single agent in my professional playing career that wouldn't have done exactly this exact same thing.
But the problem with that is there's a perception issue here.
Yeah.
The perception is that a guy whose career is not as good as Mitchell Trubisky is making crazy demands on a franchise in which he just threw 15 touchdown passes for. Now, here's the end of the story real quick. The New York Giants want Danny Jones back.
Yes.
Danny Jones wants to be a New York Giant. I don't even believe the 5 years of $190 now. He's going to get a 3 or 4 year deal. There'll be some outs and options in it, but he's going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 million a year. The real question becomes how much is guaranteed. But I thought we owed it to Daniel Jones and his agency to put out the truth, which is that at no point did he ever demand or request $45 million a year, because he's well aware of who he is and who he isn't.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're getting out there, because we're all questioning Daniel Jones's character out of
right.
nowhere.
Like, who are you to ask for $45 million bucks?
So there you have it. That was that. Craig Carton came out today and said that he's talked to some people in the know, and that the $45 million ask was a slander job from Daniel Jones's former representation to make him look bad in the public eye. Now, I saw on Twitter somewhere somebody said something to the effect of, why would a why would an agent or a representation company or somebody like that come out and say something negative about a former client to try to tarnish his reputation like that? Wouldn't that blow back on the agency? That kind of shit happens like all the time because they're not making money off that person anymore. So you know what? Fuck them. That's what they said.
Mhm.
You know what? They came out, they leaked, and they probably leaked it to Dunleavy for all we know. Who knows? These guys have got friends in the media where they can go, hey, guess for 45, don't tell anybody I told you. Monty, what do you think? Do we take Craig at his word because he knows people too? What are we doing here?
Look, I really don't think anyone knows. We're being honest here. I think that people are just throwing out numbers, if we're being totally honest right now. Because if you look at it, like, it didn't make any sense that number got thrown out in the first place. Because when was this? This is why it does make some sense to me, is because when would they have done the 45 ask? Because there is, was it at the trade deadline? Because that's the only, or not trade deadline. Was it at the bye week? Because that's the only time I heard about them negotiating. When the season ended, Joe Shane said he wasn't negotiating with Daniel Jones. You know why? Because he was switching agencies. So there was no negotiation like then. So was he asking for $45 million then? I don't know. And then there was so when was he asking? This dude's in Turk and Caicos right now. You think he's asking for $45 million a year as he's switching agencies? Like, I'm not saying, I don't care if he did or he didn't, but I just doesn't, the timeline doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because at no point in time between the Eagle game and right now, as far as I know, did Daniel Jones have a sudden psychotic break and think he's worth $45 million? However,
literally was negotiating.
However, I will say this: whoever did that, thank you, because Twitter has been absolutely amazing since that news broke.
Mm-hmm.
And if the more people listen to Craig Carton and everybody starts to relax, because it's fairly apparent that Daniel going to sign a contract that's less than the franchise tag, which would be even better, because then we could afford some of those guys we talked about earlier, Lottie, like Nick Gates, like Darius Slayton, like Shep,
or other,
and then we can,
more importantly,
other free, bring in somebody, was it Tremaine Edwards from Buffalo, or, offensive linemen, or whatever we want to do. Because, and that's the thing. This is much more palatable, but it's not as much fun as $45 million has been. $45 million has been amazing.
Yeah,
it's been so much
insane.
fun.
I did not understand why people blew up over it, but it did create a lot of dialogue. A lot of us bored Twitter folks have taken these Daniel Jones argument and thrown it into a million different hypotheticals that don't even matter.
Wait, Monty, I'm getting something. Are you hearing this? I'm getting that we've got actually live footage of current Daniel Jones contract negotiations.
Cut to a start.
I'm ready. Let's do it right now, right here. Come on.
All right. Same as last time, remember? Your crowd control. I handle employees.
I love you, pumpkin.
I love you, honey bunny.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery!
Any of you fucking pricks move! And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Oh, no.
Apparently, Daniel Jones and his new agent are very, very close.
They're holding Joe Shane hostage.
Oh, man. So, all right. What? Hold on, Monty. What? No. Elon, no. We've talked. I I've just been handed this from Elon Musk himself. I didn't hear him come in
Another
because
one.
he drove up in a Tesla. They don't make any noise. Apparently now we have to talk about Saquon. This is
All right.
that's. Thank you. Can you get this?
I actually think-
Yes, thank you. I'm recording.
I actually think this one's a pretty good conversation. I do think there's a lot of nuance to the Jones one, but I think the decision has kind of been made, and there's not much we can talk about if we like it or not. Saquon's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with that because we know that there was a hard dollar amount. You know,
Mhm.
they talked about a kind of updated version, and this is what if you've heard me talk about this at all, I've been banging this drum for months, is that it's a updated version essentially of Nick Chubb's contract.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
where it's like, 3 years, 37 something million with, certain amount guaranteed, and it spreads his cap hit out over the course of 3 years, where it's a low hit year 1, it's a little bigger year 2, and most of it comes in year 3.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what we want, but apparently, Saquon, they weren't close like during the bye week, and then shortly after the bye week, and it was that 12.5, that's what came out. And Saquon wants close to McCaffrey money, and no.
Know what I thought was a super interesting quote by Paul Schwartz with this negotiation is apparently the Giants have no interest in franchise tagging Saquon Barkley at $10.5 million because
Right.
they said that's too much to dedicate to a running back.
Yep.
$10.5 million apparently is too much to dedicate to Saquon Barkley. I think that says a lot about how they view paying a running back.
Yeah, well, the funny thing was they Weiss from NYG Weekly quoted that exact same one, and what his justification was look where Joe Shane came from. They
Mhm.
came from Buffalo, where they had, they didn't invest a ton of money in a running back.
Mhm.
You can pick up a running back in the 3rd round this year. I mean, we've talked mock
Good
drafts
class.
already,
Mhm.
This is a deep running back class.
It's a
You
good
can
free
pick up.
agency class too.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's saying that they're gonna franchise tag Josh Jacobs in Vegas. Who's to say he'll play with that at 10.1 million?
Mhm. Darius thinks Saquon's gonna be back. What do you where are you thinking? Where are you on this?
Where am I on this?
Yeah, where do you?
I
if
mean,
you had to say.
I'm saying if you're not interested in taking 12, if you're not interested in the Nick Chubb deal, then I'm not interested in you.
I think that's kind of
You
where
know?
I am, and it's not even like me. I think that's what the Giants are. I really think it's going to come down to is Saquon Barkley okay with taking that 3-year, $37-ish million deal? Might be able to change the guaranteed they're talking about, something along those lines. Is he okay with that? If not, you're gone. The question I think
Oh no,
comes
it's not even
down
if you're. It's not even that he's gone. It's take a look and see what else is out there.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
who's going to pay you more? Who's going to give Saquon Barkley $14 million? It's not going to be Buffalo. It's not going to be. It might be the Bears might do something that dumb.
I can see
but
it.
that's Chicago. But then again, Ryan Poles is from Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
They never invested in running backs that way either.
This is the way I'm looking at it. And this is why I'm looking at through Saquon Barkley's lens. I know everyone talks about it through the Giants lens, like, oh, how are you going to let the face of your franchise go? How much money he brings in jerseys, blah, blah, blah. And if John Mara had a stronger role in this, I'm sure he wants Saquon back. I would be like, yeah, that'd play a role. But I think he's letting Joe Shane build this, and Joe Shane doesn't give a rat ass about how much jersey sells. He cares about the leader he is. That is important. That's a good argument. But to me, let me look at it from Saquon Barkley's lens. I say, Saquon, you don't want to take 12.5. Go see what's out there. The Chicago Bears call. They offer him $13.5 million over 3 years, $1 million more a year than the Giants are offering. Saquon Barkley then has to look at that offer and look at the Giants offer. And do I want to be the face of a New York sports team, make millions in endorsements? I mean, there is not many running backs that are faces of organization, nonetheless of a New York organization. I am going to turn down being the face of a franchise and go be the second or third guy or fourth guy in Chicago for $1 million more a year.
Yep, exactly.
That's
Exactly. Am I going to uproot my entire life and move to Illinois
I grew
for
up.
$1 million more a year?
I was born in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave. And I know people say, like, people use it on the inverse. People will say, oh, come on, guys, he's the face of our organization. Give him an extra $1 million a year. Who cares? The thing is, that's what like Daniel Jones is going to try to get us to do. That's what anybody who has leverage over us, that's what they're going to try to do. We have leverage on Saquon Barkley.
We have leverage on Jones too, though. That's the
we
thing.
do.
Is like right now, Joe Shane is in the driver's seat. The players who are pending free agents have zero leverage.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, we'll if we don't get the kind of contract we want, we'll walk. Joe Shane's like, see ya.
The only thing is, and I mean, just from reports, I could be wrong. It doesn't seem like Joe Shane is going to let Daniel Jones straight walk, meaning he does have a tag to use for leverage because it is favorable for him. But with Saquon has free agency to use as leverage, but at the same time, like I said, he doesn't want to leave, and there's not going to be a strong free agency out there. If you look how deep the draft is, look how deep the free agency market is at running back. Right. I have a hard time seeing a team really want to pay Saquon. I mean, it could happen. It takes one team, but I just don't see it.
All right, and that's the thing is Joe Shane's not gonna get into a bidding war with the Chicago Bears for Saquon Barkley. He'll be like, you know what, I'll pick up a running back at my compensatory pick.
Yeah. Not a free agent. Devin Singletary from Buffalo is a free agent. Deontay Foreman, who was with our running back coach in Carolina, is a free agent. There's other guys who are the cheap guys. Alexander Madison is one of the best backup running backs in the NFL. He's a free agent. And then there's just like other guys. Right. Tony Pollard we're not going to get, but like he's out there. Josh Jacobs we're not going to get, but he's out there. There's a lot of names. So he's
right. It's nice to be in a spot. I will say this: it's everybody panicking. It's a whole lot of fun. Just because I thrive on chaos.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be in a position with like an adult as the general manager.
I'm so comfortable with Joe Shane.
Who's like, I'm going to ride with Joe Shane and whatever, and Brandon Brown and whatever decision these guys make, I'm all for it. Because like, look at what they did last season.
Yeah.
We rode the waiver wire, like a goddamn tightrope, and we're just snatching guys up, and we're doing all the practice squad stuff. We got to the playoffs and still had we were in cap hell and had $1 million by the end of the year. We're like, we're gonna take this into next year, and we went to the playoffs. We won a playoff game for the first time in 10 years with guys who have no right playing professional football.
And this is why I'm so comfortable with Shane and why I'm so excited for free agency. Because look, I'm not even like, yes, I would love a guy like Tremaine Edmonds, and we can talk about that because I do think he's a guy that we would go after. But what I'm more excited about is look what they did in the waiver wire. Just give them, $15 million in cash and say, go get 5 guys. Go get us 5 guys to help this football team with that $15 million and see who they bring. And I think you're going to get contributors.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is everybody that they brought in played. Everybody they brought in not only played, but at least contributed to the success of this football team, and that says a lot about, pro scouting. So now we get to see a full offseason when Joe Shane's got a little money to play with. We get to see what he does. We get to see, the combine starts very, very soon, which has got me super excited.
I'm such a nerd with combine numbers. Like, I take combine numbers and I'll just compare them to people for the last 30 years. Like, this guy profiles very similarly to this guy.
And see, the funny thing is I'm just like, shit, that guy's fast.
Fuck, man.
I'll tell you what, man. One of my favorite parts of the combine is watching offensive linemen run the 40.
Dude, those
offensive
big
and defensive linemen run the 40. I am there for it, man. I am.
Then you catch
how fast that fat guy is.
Dude, you catch like a Jordan Davis running like a 4.8. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
You don't want to steal that guy's McDouble.
Nope. He's gonna run you down. No, man, but it's a lot. I mean, you could tell we're in that weird limbo period because like the franchise tag started, but it doesn't end till March 7th, and you won't see guys get tagged until like the 4th and the 5th and the 6th.
You saw Payne from Washington but like us, there is no reason for us to tag, because if we get a deal done with Jones, let's say, I don't know what we'll do with Saquon. It doesn't sound like we're going to use it on, but maybe they'll use it for leverage. Huh? And then there is Julian Love. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we would use it on him, but
I don't think we would use it
cheap.
Yeah, safety. I mean, I don't think we would use it on Julian Love or Hottie. Because if you're tagging him as a defensive, I mean, you're probably re-signing Hottie at least to another 1-year deal.
I think a Vetman-ish deal. I think,
yeah, maybe a little more than the vet minimum.
Maybe some bonuses built in, or some some conditions
and escalators.
What do you think of bringing back Julian Love, though? How do you feel about where you at with him? What prices are you thinking in your head?
That's the thing, man. Is I don't know if they're gonna re-sign Julian Love.
Yeah,
I mean, do I like him? Yes,
I love Julian Love, but
that's the easiest thing to say. Is everybody says that I love Julian Love. He didn't have a great season. Like, he did a lot of stuff.
He had a very good year.
He had a decent, granted, if you're looking at box scores, doesn't look like he had a great year, but he did have a good year because, when Xavier McKinney went down, he took over play calling duties. He had a very you have to be a fan of this team to realize Julian Love had a good year. If you're
I agree with that.
Looking at stats, you're gonna be like, well, fuck Julian Love, man. Why he didn't do anything?
Yeah, it's like your team. It's like your team.
He had 2 interceptions and a sack.
Yeah,
who cares?
It's like your team
tackles.
Your team signs Julian Love in free agency, and you see Julian Love 3 years, $36 million, and you respond like, Giants fans, is this good?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like you don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about Julian Love, right? Next year, what are you going to have to do? You have to sign Xavier McKinney.
Yep.
Now, are you going to want to pay 2 safeties that kind of money?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends what you get him at.
Well, especially if you think about you're in now after, once we get into the season, you're in year 2 of Dane Belton.
Mm-hmm.
And he started coming along, as the season progressed, and he's still on his rookie deal. So you're kind of good there. You're not going to have to pay him for a while, but are you really going to open up the pocketbook for Julian Love when you have to do the same thing for Xavier McKinney next year?
Yeah. And I think, something I've been talking about some friends on Twitter is, if you sign Julian Love, then maybe that opens up a trade for McKinney. If that's a possibility, if it happens.
But why would you do that?
because you can get a trade for McKinney, you can get trade value. And if you like Jones, you move him with a year left on his deal, get draft picks, and you sign the safety you potentially prefer. Who knows? But I don't know.
Well,
so
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. My opinion on Julian Love is that I probably don't think he's going to be back. With all that said, I loved that Julian Love, the duct tape guy, the guy that did everything for this team. He was an outside corner, a nickel corner, a free safety, a strong safety, a money linebacker, a holder for kicks. Like, he did everything, and he was a team player, and he was a solid player. You want more Julian Loves on your team. You want as many Julian Loves as you can get on your team. But this year, he took a step up and was a genuinely good player. And now you're in a tough situation where, do you want to pay the duct tape guy $9 million, $10 million? It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's what's the price? What's the are we looking at a multi-year deal for Julian Love?
Mm-hmm.
Are we looking at, what are the guarantees? It's the same thing with everybody. What are we looking at? Or do you sign him into a 1-year deal and say, hey, do it again?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Joe Shane says, you put a value on this guy, and if you can't get him at the value, see ya. And they clearly want him back. I mean, they talked about how they tried to sign him at the at the bye week. So
during the bye week.
So I do think they want him back, but it didn't sound like they were necessarily even really close to an agreement. Right. So I think it's going to come down to Julian Love seeing what's out there. And sometimes the safety market's tough, man. It can be barren in free agency. You've seen guys like Tyrann Mathieu not get a lot of money. You guys see, I'm just like named off of my head. Like Trey Boston's was a good safety for a long time, and he would be like signed in August. Like, so it can be tough sometimes. So you never know.
We'll see. We'll kind of see what I mean. And Dan, Joe Shane has been, since he got here, has been talking about, like building, like signing our guys and, developing our guys. And, Julian Love is not a Joe Shane guy and not a Brian Dable guy, but he is kind of a wink guy, So, yeah, I mean, Mason brings up another good point.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
I mean, yeah.
So man, I think it's interesting.
I think Mason, I think the thing is anytime Daniel Jones is mentioned on Twitter, period, Twitter goes bonkers.
Yeah, or not mentioned.
It could be just, or not mentioned. Like, thanks, Joe Judge. It could be anything. And as long as Daniel Jones is tangentially involved in some way, shape, or form, Twitter is going to go nuts. I'm really glad we didn't have Twitter early on with Eli Manning. I keep repeating that.
I remember defending him to death for years before he took off and get that Super Bowl. But regardless, what was I going to say? So one thing I'll say with re-signing all these guys and people talk about extending Adoree or Leo and restructuring and all this. This is what I'll say. I do not want to repeat the mistakes of 2016. I do not want to think that this team, or really 2017 is really what I say, where you make the playoffs and with a team, you think like, oh man, we just are missing this piece and this piece. And if we fill linebacker and wide receiver, we're gonna be a contender. No, it's a year-to-year league. You can't just bring back everybody and be like, they'll do it again. They're gonna do the exact same thing again. Right. All we have to do is add another piece. It doesn't work that way. And Brian Dable said as much. Brian Dable said how much turnover there is to a team every single year and how you're going to have to basically start over each year. So I don't think they'll take that approach, but it feels like that's the approach a lot of people want to take.
Right. But and the funny thing is you'll get a lot of people saying, oh, well, we got to bring back Darius Slayton. We got to bring back Richie James. And I'm like, if we bring those two guys back, we have the exact same wide receiver core we had last season when we kept saying that Daniel Jones had dog shit wide receivers. And yes, we're going to draft guys, but why are we bringing back
funky right now?
Yeah, you're getting a little, it's like I'm getting a weird like 70s TV vibe. Like I feel like I got to adjust the vertical.
I don't know.
Or the horizontal. But like they're talking about, well, Richie James had these kind of stats and Darius Slayton had these kind of stats and you got to bring these guys back. And I'm like, why? We're bringing back the exact same wide receivers that we said were bad. And Daniel Jones doesn't have any weapons. And yes, we're going to go out and we're going to draft wide receivers. Yeah, now who's having problems?
Your dial-up in my antenna.
Yeah. You got to wrap it in tinfoil and hold it at an angle.
This is a real high cost show here. High quality.
The metal plate in my head is affecting your camera. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like we're bringing back all the same wide receivers that we just said were bad. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Like we need give me new wide receivers. Like I understand we re-signed Isaiah Hodgins. Great. Because you want to know what? He's a new wide receiver he was productive when we brought him in here. So yes, we're going to re-sign him. Right? Yeah. We're going to let Darius Slayton go. We're going to let Richie James go. We're going to draft outside wide receivers. We're going to bring guys in as unrestricted free agent or undrafted free agents and stuff for training camp. We're going to do that kind of stuff because new, younger wide receivers in here.
Yeah.
It's a little nutty. They're like, yeah, we want to bring these guys back, but we can't bring everybody back. And B, we shouldn't want to because we said these guys were bad.
Mm-hmm.
And we want new ones. We need new ones. Let's get new ones in here.
Yeah. I'm okay with bringing Slayton or Richie James back, but like it has just like everybody you're talking about, it has to be at the right cost, and that you're not bringing them back to be the guy. You're bringing them back hopefully to knock them down in the depth chart and build above them. My view with the wide receiver position in general, while we're on the subject with upgrading it this offseason, is first of all, it's a weak free agency class, but even if it wasn't, I think that the wide receivers, especially nowadays, that get to free agency are not the type of guys that you want to pay. We learned that with Kenny Galladay, but it wasn't just us. Look at how Corey Davis did when he got signed. Look at how Allen Robinson did when he got signed. Look how Juju did until he went to Kansas City and the best quarterback, and he still was like okay with the best quarterback, the number one, the best quarterback in football. Like these guys are free agents for a reason. And I would rather, if Slayton wants to come back cheap, sure. But I would rather, example I used today is Robert Woods. If you can bring Robert Woods in for $4-5 million, even maybe even less, I'd rather add a guy like that, a reliable vet who I don't have to pay a lot of money because he's an older guy, than try to go get a Jacoby Myers for $17 million or try to go get Juju Smith-Schuster for $14 million. Get me some cheap guys who can help and build this thing through the draft, because that's how we're gonna have to build this core. Get some guys so we can continue to like work as an offense, but the draft is how we're gonna build this core, and you're not gonna get major pieces through free agency. You got to get lucky.
Yep, exactly.
And luck you're going to get in the draft, and it's a lot more risk.
Huh.
Elon Musk message you again?
No. I blocked him. No, I'm trying to figure out why I drafted Bijan Robinson.
Oh, man.
Which is a historically bad take. But I was looking at something else. I was trying to find some of the other wide receivers that I'd like to draft. Which
Yeah.
is all of them, apparently.
Dude, I know people keep saying it's a bad wide receiver class, and I trust these NFL draft experts' opinions, but I don't know. To me,
really don't.
I get that too. But to me, I like this class, man. Like, you got Jordan Addison, who was the Blicknikoff winner last year. I liked him as a football player at Pitt more than I liked any of the wide receivers in last draft.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba outproduced Olave and Wilson, who both went top 12. He outproduced Atena. Okay, we're good.
I'm mad that works.
It did work. But yeah, man, and we'll see who falls to us. But I think there's a lot of good players in it too. There's Josh Downs, a good slot.
I mean, there's guys all throughout the entire draft. Like,
he's got
Devontae Wicks, A.T. Perry,
Cedric Tillman.
So, Tillman, Hyatt. There's too many to there's too many. I mean, we can just sit here and rattle off wide receivers all night.
Yeah. Odell Beckham Jr., Hakeem Nicks.
I mean, well, Hakeem's retired, but Odell.
No, just wide receivers.
Oh. Oh, okay. I mean, he's out there.
Technically.
Technically,
both free agents.
I mean,
Hakeem Nicks played as much football last year as Odell Beckham Jr. did.
That's not fair. No, because Odell played in the Super Bowl. That was last February. That was a year ago.
You got me in a
technically, I don't know if Hakeem Nicks is playing, football with his kids or if he's coaching or
You're
whatever
technically
he's doing.
correct. The best
I am
kind of
technically correct. Technically, I am correct.
All
right.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, so I think we beat this. I think we've beat this topic to death.
Yeah,
Do we have anything else that you want to talk about? I know we've had a little time off, so we're a little rusty, and Smooth is also not here to keep us on track.
Play us some videos.
Well, I didn't have any flies falling down tonight.
No, you can't make fun of fat people.
No fat people falling down tonight. I do have this, which makes everybody uncomfortable.
Oh, thank God you didn't let it play all the way through.
I mean, hey, we've got all of this stuff hanging around. I mean,
yeah, man. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I feel like a lot of it right now is people are just trying to stay interested. I mean, we'll talk about I'm sure we'll talk about Daniel Jones more because that's what's going to happen. But really, I just want to talk about it once I see the numbers. I'm so tired of talking about these fake numbers. I want to see the numbers. Then I can have a take on it because he's going to be back. I don't know at what cost. That's where I'm at.
I mean, is he though? Who knows?
If every beat reporter is wrong, then he's not. But I don't know. We'll see. It's not a 0% chance. I'll say.
I mean, who knows? That 40, who knows, man? That 45 could be like, yeah, I said it. Who knows? I mean, we're trusting Craig Carton on this one. He's not always the most reliable person. Let's just remember that too. He's got sources. Who they are, we don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm trusting our beat reporters. I don't care about anything else. That's basically where I'm at.
I trust Dan Duggan and Art Stapleton, and that's about it.
Yeah. It depends what it is.
Some of these other guys have way too much. Like they're like, was it? Some of these guys work for the team.
Yes. Some of them are huge shills, but because they're huge shills, they get information from ownership. And that you can see it sometimes. Like, for example, I think it's Schwartz. It might be somebody else. I can't remember. But if you look at their mock drafts, you'll saw like one guy had like Kadarius Toney going to them and said like they're really interested in Kadarius Toney. And they had Daniel Jones going at 6 when everybody was like, no, he's going to 17. They're like, no, he's taking him at 6. Like there's weird shit that slips through. I know it's a new regime, so it's not as strong as it used to be.
Well, that was a lot of like Dave Gettleman's cronies and stuff like that. But like, I mean, how can you really trust half of these guys when their sources are the team? And I'm gonna say it. I don't trust a damn thing Jordan Raanan says, because he's an Eagles fan.
Everyone hates that Jordan's Eagles. Jordan does have some sources though, because he's at ESPN, and that gives him a more of an in than some other.
You know what, man? I'll tell you this. I've stopped like a year and a half ago. I stopped listening. I've stopped listening to Jordan's podcast, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jordan is the most miserable son of a bitch I've ever heard. It's like, well, I've been covering the team for the past 3 years, and the team has been bad, and blah 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 blah. Hey, Jordan, guess what? I've been a fan of this fucking football team since 1978. Okay? Since I was 3 years old. This team has not always been good. And it sucks sometimes. Shut your fucking mouth. Okay? You get paid to cover this team for ESPN. If I got paid to cover the Giants for ESPN, I don't care if they were 1-16. I would be the smilingest motherfucker in the world. They'd be like, fucking New York Giants came out this week and lost their asses. They got their shit kicked in. But you know what? This is the best job in the world. Fuck you, Jordan Raanan. Shut up. Go back to Philly, you prick.
I do not endorse that statement, but I get where you're coming from.
You don't have to endorse that statement. Statements made. Hold on. I'll make you feel better. Watch this. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Are you trying to take me out and then put you in? You messed that one up?
Yeah, I totally did. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Can I main screen me? Yes, here we go. So, main screen on me. Fuck you, Jordan Raanan. You miserable prick.
All right. I'm glad you got that.
You're better.
I don't care what.
Are purely owned by Mayhem and are not associated with Big Blue Beards as a whole, because I embrace chaos and am totally and completely insane. Because I'm tired of listening to you complain, Raanan, about having to cover the team. Go back to Philly and cover the goddamn Eagles if you want to cover. Oh, wait, no. They lost the fucking Super Bowl.
There's so much hate in your heart for Jordan Raanan.
Oh, I can't stand him. He's fucking miserable for no reason. None. And he asks, like, if you listen to the questions he asks, like at press conferences, it's like, Jordan, are you fucking serious? Like, I don't know who's worse. Like Raanan or Ryan Dunleavy or fucking Pat Leonard.
You should start a book club with Eric Flowers.
I can't. But see, here's the thing: is I can't see Pat Leonard's shit anymore because he blocked me.
He blocked me too
2 years ago.
He blocked me during the Brian Dable when he said that Brian Dable was going to Miami, and I said he was as credible as the Carpenter, and I didn't even add him, and he blocked me.
I think I called him Pat the Rat, and he blocked me for that. And I can't even remember what the context was, and I don't care. I got blocked by Louis Riddick for.
I blocked Lewis Riddick. I didn't give him the satisfaction.
Oh no, I trust me. Give me that. Give me all of that smoke, Lewis.
I was like, this guy's gonna be our GM, and I'm not gonna see anything he says. I gotta block him before he blocks me.
God, now I'm all mad now because he got me talking about Jordan
Got you all
Renan.
riled up for the show ended.
Now, Mason, I can see your comment, but I'm not going to highlight it because I'm pretty sure YouTube doesn't like that word. I, for one, love that word because I'm Irish, and that's a term of endearment. So I don't understand that. But yeah, God damn it, man! You got me all fired up about Renan. Don't anybody clip this because I don't need Jordan blocking me either.
You're gonna block me too.
Or fuck it, I don't really care. I don't care. I'll tell you what, I will say this, Mason, I've seen this a ton.
He blocks me too.
Hottie blocks a lot of people. I haven't been blocked by him.
I haven't said a damn word about Hottie.
I
still
don't know.
love Hottie.
Hey, you know what? You can clip this part right now. Clip this. I fucking love Jihad Ward, and he needs to be a Giant for life.
I love Jihad Ward.
I love Jihad Ward.
I don't care.
And Hottie, you need to unblock my man Monty over here because like he doesn't have anything but good things to say about you and your content, man. I love following Hottie on Twitter. It's so much fun.
I wish I could see it. I don't care though.
Dude, I'm just gonna start screenshotting. I'm just gonna start screenshotting his shit and send it to you.
It's funny. This is how likable Jihad Ward is. He has half of Giants Twitter blocked, and we still love him.
Yeah.
Anybody else blocks half of Giants Twitter, they just fucking call him a pussy
or
just
Pat Leonard.
Yeah, they just make him their enemy. Jihad Ward blocks them. There's like, what the fuck, man? I thought we were buds.
Like, I love Hottie. Why did he block me?
Yeah.
That would be a fun exercise is finding out who blocks you on Twitter and like getting a list together for the show. I kind of wish I could do that. I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that?
No, I have no idea. I got blocked the other day because Tommy tweeted out a tweet about what's your backup plan to Daniel Jones. I gave a backup plan. This guy goes, insults me for it. I go, he asked for a backup plan. What do you want from me? What's your backup plan? He goes, I don't have a backup plan. If you don't like Daniel Jones, then you don't be a Giants fan. I'm like, you clearly didn't read the tweet I replied to, and then he blocked me.
The request was
to
come up with a backup plan.
I'm like, and here's your
I thought it was a fun exercise. And now I'm blocked by some random a-hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Giants Twitter. I'll tell you this. One of my alternate Twitter accounts, because I have a couple,
burners
is no burners. They're just because it's the same profile picture for all. It's not the same. It's just me screaming out into the abyss of Twitter
with a different background.
My other one, I only follow like local guys who cover the Broncos and stuff because once they traded for Russell Wilson, I wanted to see Broncos Twitter burn to the ground. Again, thrive on chaos. And that is probably the most enjoyable thing ever. You think Giants' Twitter is bad? Just create an alternate account and follow a different team.
I've heard this.
Watch the insanity ensue. We're really not as bad as we think we are. Like we're weird and we're toxic. Go do me a favor. I want one of you who's in the either in the chat right now or who watches this later. DM me.
One of the three of you.
One of the three of you, Mason, Sal, Darius, one of you guys, or because because I know people watch this later on because half the time Authentic and the Beard are on the exact same time we are, and I can't fault people for watching them and not us because let's face it, their production value is off the
Shout out
chain.
Authentic.
I don't have a soundboard, and any kind of weird sound effects that show up on our show is usually something that comes out of one of our mouths. I don't have a me or any of that stuff. I don't have a soundboard.
We can't even have a functioning camera and internet.
Yes. Tonight's haven't been too bad, so
Yeah, I've been the problem.
But I will say this. If you're in the chat right now, or you're watching later on, create an alternate Twitter account and go follow a different team. I will give you an example. Create an alternate account and go be a Raider fan and find out what the fuck damaged is. Okay?
Oh man, the Gruden era probably has them fucked up.
Become a closet Raider fan, a Broncos fan, or I tell you what, man, I know a bunch of San Diego Chargers fans, or I should say LA. They're all demented human beings. I don't understand.
Raider Twitter was on me when I told them that they weren't going to get Patrick Graham, and then they did, and they were on my ass.
Yeah, and and you know what's funny is they got Patrick Graham all right.
Yeah, and we got Wink Martindale. So have fun.
Yeah, we got Wink.
Graham.
Yeah, so so as we're kind of wrapping things up, I will say this: go create an alternate Twitter account, get involved in another team's fan base, and report back to me. My DMs are open, and tell me about the insanity, and we might even bring you on the show to talk about it, because what else are we going to talk about? It's the off season. I'm going to get Monty to pick an XFL team. I'm going to give him homework. He's got to pick an XFL team because there's not a New York one. There's not even a Northeast one, I don't think. So, yeah, that's what you're going to have to do, Monty. Find an XFL team and report back to me. I want somebody to become a fan of an alternate team, like create a brand new Twitter and dive right in with both feet and report back. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys. See you next week. Thank you guys all. Subscribe, follow us, and yeah, we'll see you next week. And hopefully have some guests on this off season.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some guests. We're working on some fun stuff. Yeah. All right. So for the beards, we'll see you next week.
We're out.